Good day, all you podcasters out there in Podcastville. This is Pastor Rex, Senior Pastor of Christian Life Austin here in Austin, Texas, 4700 Westgate Boulevard. And we are doing our second podcast of the year today. It's an honor to have you join in, and I've got somebody with us today that's going to be absolutely an amazing voice to listen to. First of all, this person is very, very brilliant. And I noticed that she was left-handed, which means she thinks from the different side of life than most people that are right-handed, if that matters. And she has a wonderful job, a wonderful vocation. She is a mother, a wife, a mother, and a Christian child of God. I should have put that first, but bottom line, she's just all that and above. And she has a tremendous story, and we're going to visit with her today in just a little while. But I remind you that Patti and I did a podcast last month, my sweet wife, telling our story a little bit of how we got to be here, and we are so happy to be here. 2022, Pastor Brad and Pastor Cassidy became the lead pastors of the church, and I went from lead pastor to senior pastor, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm loving doing podcasts. And so today, on this 20th day of June, we're here to celebrate a wonderful, wonderful person, and I want to introduce her to you. Her name is Christin Vasquez, and here she is in the flesh. It's a joy to be here, Christin, with you today.
Thank you for having me.
Been looking forward to this. It's just an honor. It's an honor to be your pastor. It's an honor to be the officiant at you and Chris's wedding. It's an honor to see what God is doing with your life, and it's an honor to see what you do in your life. I'm gonna let you kind of tell a little bit of your life, about maybe your marriage, how you found the church, the children that God's blessed you with, your job, your profession. And we're just going to get into some good talk today. So why don't you just kind of tell people out there who you are and what you are. And I'm very proud to have you. I call you my favorite, okay? I call you my favorite. So tell them why I'm you're my favorite. Tell them.
He calls me his favorite counselor here at the church. So no offense to any other counselors here, but I take the cake for the favorite.
Come on, that's right. That's right.
So I am, like you said, a wife and a mother. I have 3 gorgeous children that have all been born in this house, raised in this house,
2 and 1,
dedicated in this house. Finally got our little boy, Caleb. So he is 7.5 months old now. Married to an amazing husband, Chris.
My dear friend. Yes.
You were a great mentor to him. Meet him for lunch frequently. And let's see, we've been going here to Christian Life Austin. I still sometimes call it CLC, but Christian Life Austin for 11 years. We started coming here when we were still dating. We're new to Austin, and we're led here by another friend of ours. And we walked in, and we had only really been consistent to one church before we came here in Houston, where we came from. But whenever we visited this church, we had been church shopping, as you call it, here in Austin when we moved. And we just felt the Holy Spirit, though I don't think I didn't know what it was, but I felt something different here. And so we stayed, and it's been an incredible blessing to our marriage and our family. And you married us.
I did.
10 months later after we started coming.
And I told you, if you don't pick at the knot, I'm going to tie a good knot. If you don't pick at it, it won't come undone.
We've been doing our best not to pick at it. Yeah. It's been a good knot.
Wonderful.
Yeah. It just gets better every day. Right. So, that's kind of our story. I am an attorney. Work for the state. And everything I say here is in my personal capacity, not in my capacity at my job.
Okay.
Have to make that disclaimer.
All right.
So, yeah. I've been an attorney for 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say this, you're on the offensive side, not the defensive side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
You help the attorney's office
Yes.
with things.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And the Attorney General is a dear friend of mine. I was chaplain of the party for 8 years, and I got to meet Attorney General Paxton, and so that's as far as I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So anyhow, let's talk. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your God quest and how this God factor became a part of your life, and how that you have discovered some things, because we're going to uncover some things today that the normal person watching a podcast will not hear on normal podcast. But we're going to do some things today. We're going to talk about some things today that's going to be extremely interesting, and also something that'll make somebody go, wow, I need to do a little research here and find out some of these things that you discovered in your life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about when you decided to make that step of faith, and you became water baptized, and you accepted the Lord into your life here. And then let's go from there to where you are today. Let's just kind of go through the process of where you are today.
Sure. So, all my life, I would characterize myself as what I've heard termed a cultural Christian.
Okay, great word.
Yeah. So I believed in God, didn't know a lot about him, didn't read the Word, didn't go to church regularly, but I would never dare say I didn't believe in God. At one point, however, I even went as far as to call myself agnostic.
Wow.
And that was while I was in law school. And I've since learned that means, I think in the Greek, without knowledge, which is fascinating that I would say that about myself.
Yeah. Because that's what you study. You get knowledge.
Yeah. So came here to Austin in 2012 with Chris, and started coming to church here. He found the Lord in 2011. That's his story to tell. But in 2011, when we still lived in Houston, we started going to a Baptist church there.
Okay.
And we did start going regularly. And I was fine with that. No problem with that whatsoever, but still didn't have a personal relationship with the Lord. So we came here 2013. And
first of the year, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, January of 2013. Yeah. And started coming here regularly. He wanted to get water baptized in 2015, and I had been baptized as a baby, but not as an adult. So we did that together in 2015.
Right.
I'm going to tell him myself. Don't be mad at me.
No. This is why we do this.
So Chris laughs now. He would never tell you this, but there would be times pre-2021 where I would shut my eyes during service and fall asleep a little bit. And Chris, we would leave church and he would be so upset with me. He was like, how that was
I did
message.
Not know that.
Well,
I did not know that, because you folks sit toward the front.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, he's really in deep meditation or something. I didn't know my preaching put people out like that.
You don't. That's the thing. We would leave and he would be like, what? Like, basically, what is wrong with you? That was such a powerful message. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. It was a rough night last night. I was, whatever. I'm sorry, Pastor.
That's precious.
I repent.
That's precious.
So,
I love that. Honest confessions. Good.
Yes. So fast forward to COVID.
Okay.
And during COVID, everything shut down, as we all remember. All our busy schedules came to a halt. All of our calendars cleared. And we started working from home. And since I gained essentially 3 hours a day over that time period, because I wasn't commuting to and from work and I wasn't getting ready for work, I started going on regular walks in the morning. And I didn't know it at the time, but that's when the Lord really started to speak to me during my nature walks during 2020. And I started on this path of kind of soul searching, what's the meaning of life?
Soul
Why?
talk.
Yes.
Yeah, soul talk.
Why
Yeah.
am I here? What's my purpose? Like what is happening in this world? Like this is insane. But I felt deep down that God was at work in 2020. Like he was doing something, even though it seemed really bad and horrible and scary. I felt him in the midst of all of it. And so I would go on these walks and I would listen to podcasts and books and things. And one of the podcasts I would listen to was kind of a health and wellness podcast. And I was trying to eat cleaner, use better, products for my skin and whatever. And so I'd listen to this woman regularly. And on one of her podcasts, she mentioned a cousin that she had and this woman was a Christian. So she mentioned she had this cousin who was, she didn't call her a psychic, but that's what she was. And she gave some examples of where this woman had predicted something and then it happened. And so while I'm on this soul search, I'm thinking, maybe I should reach out to this lady because maybe she can give me a little bit of guidance on, what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, what's my purpose here? So I make an appointment with this woman and...
Local?
No. She was in Brazil.
Zoom.
Yes.
Okay.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Not a problem. No.
It can still works.
You still work.
Yeah. So I make this appointment, and Pastor, this is something that I can't believe to this day. I never knew that psychics and this was expressly forbidden in the Bible. Never. I didn't read the Bible, right? I was going to church and I did my Sunday thing, but I was not getting in the Word, and I did not develop a personal relationship with Christ. So I made the appointment, and immediately upon making this appointment, I felt a heaviness on me that I couldn't shake and I couldn't explain. I would also, so in addition to listening to those, the podcasts, I would also listen to audiobooks. And one of them was a book about like angel stories, examples or stories where angels intervened in people's lives, saved them from a car accident or whatever. And one of those stories I remember very vividly. After I made the appointment with this woman, I was listening, and it was about a woman who, as a child, had dealt with the occult and tarot card reading and psychics and Ouija boards and all these things. And she was explaining in her story that she felt like since her childhood, she had opened the door for something demonic that had influenced her life growing up, like all the way to adulthood. She felt like something dark was following her and kind of wreaking havoc in her life. And I remember listening to that story, and I was just kind of
taken back.
Yeah. And I kind of thought, geez, I have an amazing husband, incredible children, great job, like everything's going well for me. I don't want to open the door up to something that I shouldn't. And so that's when I started praying about it. And now my flesh wanted to go forward with the appointment. And that story alone, if I was dying to my flesh, I would have said, cancel the appointment. Like, clearly you don't want this.
Right.
But I wanted confirmation. So I prayed about it. I would go on my walks. I'd pray. Remember one day I was, there's a pond by my house, and I went to the pond and I was praying about it. And I said, Lord, if this is something you don't want me to do, then tell me. And my next thought was, I've already told you. And then my next thought after that was, and if you've already told me, then tell me again. So
you're an attorney. You need a little extra help, a little extra push.
Yes. I need more evidence.
More evidence, please.
Yeah.
We got a case here we need to fix.
Man. So he had a lot of grace on
He
me,
did.
for sure.
He shows it.
So, asked for him to confirm it for me. I need more direct communication. That's not what I should be doing. Yeah. So the following Sunday, Chris and I got to church early, and the girls, I think, were with my in-laws. And so we were just sitting in the parking lot, and it had really started weighing on me at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and poor guy, he probably was like, "Don't do it," like he really, but he couldn't tell me that.
I think I was having some lunches with him about that time. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were having lunch. We were talking about it.
But he knew.
But he never went into that realm.
No.
Just, he felt like that you were kind of confused. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And didn't want to be, he thought, he would say now that he thought that if he told me I shouldn't do it, I would definitely go do it.
Yeah.
So he was just helping me kind of walk through how to get answers here.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, who can I talk to about this? And I thought of Pastor Reed. I could reach out to him.
My nephew.
Yes.
Young adult pastor.
Yes.
Yeah, at that time.
Yes. And then I thought, well, no, he'd think I'm crazy. I can't do that. So that was off the table. So
Interesting story, folks. Stay with us. We're gonna get to the end of this in a minute.
So I go drop off the kids at school the next day. I'm leaving the parking lot, and I get the thought to call my sister, Siobhan. And she is a tremendous woman of God, very strong in her faith. And
Devout.
so I can trust her. She wants what's best for me, and she knows the Lord. Duh. So I call her, and I tell her, I'm going to send you this website. I want you to tell me what you think. So I send it to her. She calls me back about 10, 15 minutes later, and she said, do you really want to know what I think? And I said, yeah. And she said, I think you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
And so that was it. That was my 17th confirmation that I needed. So I went home, I canceled the appointment, and immediately the burden lifted. I mean, that was clearly my first struggle.
You felt like you could breathe again.
Yes.
I've been through some of those battles in my own life.
And that's surrender.
That's surrender.
Right? And that was my first lesson.
That's right. That's right.
In surrender. And when you want to hold on to something that's fleshly, it costs you.
It does.
And whenever you release it to God, you can't explain the feeling.
It elevates you.
Yes. Yeah.
He's a God, Jehovah Elyon.
Yes.
Yeah. He lifts, he elevates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after all that happened, it was so clear to me that he intervened in that situation, that he was calling me and trying to keep me from something very dark. And once I recognized that, I decided, why wouldn't I live for him and devote everything to him? And that is when I really accepted him into my life.
Right. And that was
in
Sunday?
No.
Okay.
So this happened like in December of 2020.
Okay.
Around there.
Okay.
It might have been the following weekend or maybe 2 weekends later. Came to church on a Sunday, January 10th.
Sit on the front row that you always sit on.
Yes.
You and Chris, front row people.
I was
in the building.
I was by myself that day because he was ushering and his parents weren't there for some reason. But so I was there by myself, which I'm grateful for because that was good. But January 10th of 2021.
And the song got you.
Yes. Yeah.
The goodness of God.
Yes.
The goodness of God.
Yes. All my life.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. It's one I want sung when I cross over.
Yes.
I want that sung at my funeral.
It gets me every time because
it's unbelievable.
Because I look back on my life and I haven't been devoted to him. And you know, we met several years ago, probably soon after we got married. Mm-hmm. And I remember telling you, like, I haven't experienced these struggles or these traumas that so many people have. Mm-hmm. And you said, that's a blessing from God. Yeah. And it's so true. And that's what this song represents. All my life, you've been faithful. Even when I wasn't devoted to you, to God, he was still protected me. He still kept me safe.
You know, the book says, if we are faithful, he is faithful. If we're not faithful, he's still faithful because he cannot deny himself.
Yes.
It's just an amazing thing that God takes care of us when we're doing our dumb stuff in life.
Yes.
He takes care of us.
And he did.
And Christin, the Spirit of God came down on you and you received the Spirit. And I remember seeing it happen. I just saw something's happening to Christin right here on the front row. I was, of course, rejoicing with the song myself over in my chair, but you just absolutely received something wonderful and powerful that morning.
It was supernatural.
And it's just boom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to say boom shagalaga. It
Yes.
just happened.
And I didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
I left and I didn't even say anything about it for a while because I didn't know how to put words.
Yeah.
I had no clue what that was.
Yeah.
But I was instantly transformed.
Yeah.
And I'd never been the same since.
Yeah. So how do you think it's helped in home, in your marriage, in your raising of your children, on your job, dealing with people? Somebody said told me a long time ago that you were real tough when you litigated something. You're tough. You are always prepared. You're always ready. And they said you're kind of like a pit bull with lipstick. That's not insulting. In other words, you got it. You got a hold of it. And I've never seen you argue a case. I've never seen you on display in the offensive, but I guess I would call you the female Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. You're a winner when you go to court. But the bottom line is that how do you see this Godship, this God factor in your life helping you in the place that you are now in every area of life?
Oh God.
Can you give us a little
I could go on
that?
Forever.
Yeah.
But I'll just give you one example that comes to mind.
Okay.
Soon after that, I think it was in May of 2021, I had a trial in Houston by one of the scariest judges in the state, federal court. And I went with a more senior attorney, and she was very quick, the judge, always very quick to ridicule the attorneys, and just was
on both sides. Or just,
in this case, it was mainly our side.
Yeah.
She was
just taking a little heat.
Not favorable to the state.
Yeah.
But there was one moment, I prayed every day during that trial. It was, I think, a 5-day trial. And I would pray every morning. It was an employment lawsuit, employment discrimination against my client. And I didn't believe that this man, this plaintiff in that case, had been discriminated against, but I wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. So I prayed every morning that God's will be done in this situation. If he was discriminated against, then let that be the verdict. And if he wasn't, then let justice prevail. Mm-hmm. So in that case, I was completely submitted. I was going to do my job, right, but I wanted this to be in the Lord's hands. So I remember one of the last days of trial, I was questioning one of the witnesses, and the judge was shutting me down. And this is a piece of information that really needed to come out. And it was a holy confidence that I had, because she's a scary judge, and she would shut me down, and she was like fire in her eyes at me. And when she would shut me down, I would look at her, I would thank her, and then I would rephrase the question, and she would shut me down again, and then I would rephrase again. And I did it probably 4 or 5 times, to where afterwards we talked to the jury, and they said, we knew what you were getting at. Like, they understood what she was doing, right, and what I was doing. And normally, pre-2021, I would not have had that. I would have been shaken to the core.
But you had a boldness.
Yes. That was the difference. And there were so many God winks during that trial that I knew he was present in his will.
Would you call it God wink? Yeah. I love it. I love that. Yeah. God wink.
I get that from my mom. She calls them God winks.
That's cool.
That he was there, and he was in that jury deliberation room.
Right.
And
right.
So he helps me in my job. I rely on him. I seek his counsel and his wisdom. I need to do it for everything. I'm still working on being conscious about asking him about everything, but definitely do for the important things.
Yeah. You shall receive power. It's dunamis. It talks about dunamis there, but there's all kinds of power.
Yes.
Knowledge, understanding, wisdom. Solomon, the Lord asked him what he wanted. He said, I want a spirit of understanding. I want wisdom. And God said, because you didn't ask for money, you didn't ask for power, I'm going to give you what you asked for plus
more.
that.
Yes.
And so I believe that believers can really ask the Lord, give me some understanding going into this. I've been there, Christin. I have been right there in my field, of leadership and leading people to the Lord. And it's very wonderful thing to know that there's a peace that can come. There's a peace that can come on you that just passes understanding, and you can just face it and smile and walk away and say, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do today. So let's talk a little bit about your tomorrow. We've visited before. I don't know how long you're going to do this. You may do it till you're 70. I don't know, but you have talked about maybe working in an area of leading ladies in your off time, in your downtime, leading people, talking to people, giving your testimony. And I really think that what I've heard today needs to be told to a lot of people. Of course, a lot of people are going to hear this, but at the same time, I think it would be good for you just to kind of touch that at the end about maybe where you see yourself 15, 20 years from now. That's a long way. Yeah. But it could happen in 5 to 10, Yeah. I don't even want to ask you how old you are because I know how old you are. You're very young.
I'm 39.
I know. That's still young. You don't get old till you get 45. I set that pattern in my life. When I got 45, I said, Lord, I am getting old. And but do you see yourself maybe doing some things in your downtime, maybe a mission thing or a thing to help other women that are battling with what you got victory over, and you can be the person that can lead them to the real water?
And that would be my dream job.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that would be.
But it can also hook on to what you are today because you have such a clout with the Attorney General. You have a wonderful position there that, somebody walk up to you and say, there's something different about you, Christin. There's something different. What is it? Well, I dyed my hair today. No, it's not that.
I washed my hair today.
No, it's not that. But at the same time, I think that God gave you this illumination, gave you this revelation simply because he wanted you to share it with others. And that's how the gospel gets out. Yes. 1 tells 2, and 2 tells 4, and 4 tells 8, and 8 tells 16, and it just blossomed. Yeah. So bottom line, I'd like for you to close with something that you think is just a cherry on top of a little sundae for you about this today, about maybe your family, your little boy, 2 little girls. I love your kids. I love them. And I love the fact that you and Chris have been blessed with these. So is there anything you just kind of want to throw out there to the people that are listening today and will be listening to this podcast that might just say, wow, God's good?
Sure. You sprung that one on me, but
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The first thing that comes to mind is just another minor, it's not minor, but testimony about my son. And we had been on the fence for 4 years about whether we were going to have another child. And the Lord clearly wanted Caleb to be born. And I won't go into details.
Give me this amount. Hey. Yeah.
I mean, it went, the messages that Pastor Brad preached down to why we named him Caleb. Just the Lord has been all over it. But I would just say that when I opened my heart and went on the search for truth, for Christ, I found it. And I think that that's something that a lot of people, they might not acknowledge it or realize it, but they're scared to do, because you do have to die to yourself. If you're going to follow Christ, you've got to let go of the things of this world. But on the other side of that, there's so much more fullness. I mean, when you are in a relationship with the creator of the universe and he is specifically talking to you, communicating with you, there is nothing that beats that. No money, no power, no nothing. So I would just encourage people to let go of everything here. This all is going to die. Yeah. Can't take it with you. Start building your legacy for your family, and start building your treasures in heaven. because I believe that what we do here on earth is going to transfer. And we're going to start somewhere in heaven, whether it's, we were a believer here on earth but didn't serve the Lord, or whether we served him with our entire lives here on earth. I think that transfers. So I would just say start now. Everything here is artificial.
Everything here is temporal. Everything where we're going is eternal.
Yes.
Christin, I've enjoyed this today. And 30 minutes have come and gone pretty quickly. You said some wonderful things, and I think you gave some tremendous direction to the people that may be wrestling with some things in their own life. While you were talking there at the end, and I'm going to sum all this up this way, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Way is on one side, life is on the other, but truth's in the middle. Jesus was on the middle cross. He was the truth person that died for us. So when you embrace him, he'll be your way, he'll be your life. When you embrace him, the man in the middle. And so I reach out to you today. This comes to you from hearts that are humbled in the presence of God, because God has allowed us to serve him and to talk about him and bless people with what we know. So may the Lord bless you today, and I trust that what this young lady said and what has happened on past podcasts will just continue to bless you. And we'll be back next month with another candidate to talk to you about different things. Christin, I bless you today. Thank you for being here, and I bless your husband, and I bless your children, and I'm so happy you're a front row Christian at Christian Life Austin. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. We'll check you next time. This is Pastor Rex saying, all you podcasters out there in Podcastville, have a great day. God bless.